Welcome back to the Saints and Alumni Show here on 88.3 The Saint. It is Friday, April 15th. A good Friday to all of our Siena listeners out there. I'm your host, Brandon Murphy, class of 2017, the Associate Director of Alumni Relations. And I have special guests with me, Andrew Brunner from the class of 2023, who is the president of the Environmental Club here at Siena, and Kristina Gatto, class of 2024, and the president of the brand new Astronomy Club here at Siena. We're going to dive into a lot today, and I just want to first welcome Kristina and Andrew with us today here on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Brandon. Hi, Siena community. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Super excited to be here. Thanks so much for having us.
And I know that we're kind of holding your Easter break just a little bit for the show today, and I know you both are itching to get back home and seeing some family, but there's a lot to unpack today on the podcast. And, you know, it's always great as an alum, and especially here at Siena as an employee, to read the Daily Digest, to read the Scoop, which are these briefings and communications that we get on a bi-weekly basis here at Siena, and see what our current students are doing at Siena. And when I was reading about the Environmental Club and the Astronomy Club, and I was talking with the professors, I knew we needed to have both Kristina and Andrew on the show today. But I want to, take back the tapes a little bit for both of you and kind of go back to your senior year of high school and give the listeners a chance to hear about how you both ended up at Siena. What was that hook at Siena? Did you come to campus and visit it? Andrew, can you tell the listeners a little bit about, that college decision-making process for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I had relatives who actually went to Siena in their past, and they had recommended me to the college. But in my high school years, I was very eager to get out of high school and, look around for college. I'd always been interested in the environment, and there's not a lot of local schools that offer that, but I visited campus one day at Siena and found it my home a few years later, and I'm loving every moment of it. So,
Andrew, I got to ask you, I'm a legacy family too. My twin, Andy, who I lived with our 4 years of college, he also now works at Siena. I still live with him, and my brother Ryan was a senior when I was a freshman here. Who is those legacy connections that you have? Did you get a legacy family photo on move-in day? Do you remember that?
I don't, but my uncle who lives 5 minutes away, he had graduated here in the 80s, and he recommended me there, and my aunt did too, and they welcomed me right to the community, and they gave me some apparel and whatnot. So
that was always great. I would come visit my brother Ryan. For 3 years I was still in high school. I'd get all this Siena swag. I'd hang out on family weekend. I'd hang out on siblings weekend, and just get that full Siena experience before I was even a Saint. And for you, Kristina, I don't know, do you have a legacy family? What was your decision-making process? Did you visit a lot of schools? Was it a smaller school that you were looking at, a bigger school? What was your path that got you here to Siena?
So I definitely wasn't too picky about size when it came to college. I was more interested in the majors and programs they had. And Siena actually happened to send me a fee waiver mid-senior year, and I just applied on a whim one Friday afternoon. And I got accepted, and they just so happened to have an astrophysics program, which is something I was considering but wasn't set on. So I decided to commit to Siena and see what I can do here.
And I came in as a Siena student. I came in undeclared. I came in undeclared business. I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. I loved wearing a suit and tie, and I was like, oh, that's the business route. But then I was lucky enough to take all of these different Siena classes and have these different Siena experiences outside of the classroom. And I was kind of like, you know what? I kind of like the psychology route. I like the community service aspect to it. I like helping one another. And I ended up being psychology. And, it's great that Kristina had that go-to path coming in to Siena her freshman year. Andrew, did you have that same path? Did you come in knowing you wanted to do some type of environmental study?
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, growing up in my career and whatnot, going in through high school, I was always involved in the environment. And I was searching around for schools. So many schools are 3 hours away to study the environmental profession that I wanted to pursue. And then I realized that Siena had a great program here for the environment. And I ended up just walking in and said, I want to be an environmental science major, and here I am.
And I think for you, Andrew, you had a full club for your freshman year, and maybe for you, Kristina, it was a little bit different. But I remember my freshman year coming here. It's that first Friday of the fall semester. There's probably 200 tables on the academic quad, and there's 500 people telling you to sign up for their clubs. And we talk a lot about that outside of the classroom experience. And we're going to dive a lot into that in the second segment of the show today. But Andrew, do you remember going through that club fair? did you sign up for any other clubs outside of the environmental club, and any memories that you might have of outside the classroom?
Yeah, so walking around my freshman year here, I lived on campus, and I was overwhelmed by how many tables I saw there. I pretty much just asked everyone, said, "Where's the environmental table? Where's the outdoors table? Where can I see wildlife and whatnot?" I ended up signing up for the outing club, which I'm still a member of now, not as a big part as I am at the environmental club. But I pretty much just signed up for the two outdoors clubs. There's 400, 500 tables, and it was just really overwhelming. But so I lived here my freshman year, and I could definitely say that my activity, I joined recreational sports. I was very involved in the environmental club, and now I'm the president of the club, which is it's a really cool honor to take on. And now I'm here on the podcast. So,
Which is great to have you both on today. And Andrew, I just to follow up with all of that. You meet all of these new people at Siena. I remember for me, we come in. The dining hall had as many people in my town as it was in the dining hall. I was overwhelmed. But I was able to find so many friends and so many new connections, and I kind of found my niche group here at Siena. Was it something where you came into Siena with your roommate? Did you know your roommate? Did you meet different roommates and friends because of the clubs that you joined? What was that kind of social impact that Siena has given you?
right. So I went in my freshman year. I went random with my room selection and got two people from my hometown, actually,
Wow.
who I grew up with. So it was really awesome, and I had a great bond with them already. So I was surprised to be with them. And then I ended up living off campus when the pandemic hit. But I definitely, a lot of my friends here have stemmed from the environmental community. I'm still very close to them now. So.
And what about you, Kristina? I think, you came in, during the pandemic era for college students, and there wasn't that traditional 500 people club fair on the academic quad. It was scaled down a bit. It might have been online just a little bit. But how did you find your path, this past year and a half at Siena outside of the classroom?
I just have a second to think about that.
Yeah, definitely. Did you join a bunch of different clubs your freshman year? Did you join with different campus partners? Did you go in the roommate selection process as randomized? Did you know your roommate coming in your freshman year?
Yeah, so with my roommate, I didn't actually know her too well, but we did go to schools near each other and had a ton of mutual friends. And once I found that out, I just reached out to her and asked if she wanted to room with me. And we ended up clicking, and it went really well. And as far as academic-wise, just because of the pandemic, I decided to focus on academics because I figured, nothing's going on, socially, really.
Yeah,
so
it's
I figured it'd
difficult.
be the best time to just focus academically. And I ended up becoming really close with a bunch of my professors. And because of them, I've had so many opportunities to do just a multitude of things. And now here I am starting the astronomy club with the help of my professor, Dr. Finn.
And you talk a lot about that astronomy club. We're going to dive into that's the second segment of the show. And you're almost completely done with your sophomore year of college. And I remember I didn't really truly find my group of friends that I hung out with for the next 2.5 years until that second semester sophomore year. And you become that really tight-knit group because of the clubs on campus, because of the different events that they're offering. And luckily for both you, Kristina, and for you, Andrew, campus life is kind of coming back normal this year, for the most part, maybe 95, 99% back. And you get to experience what college life should be like as a Saint and, meet new people that you may have not met the past year and a half. Andrew, what has it been like, your junior year now, 2 years later, having kind of that full college experience and some of the favorite memories that you have had to date here at Siena?
Yeah, so the Siena community is, it's an awesome community. Everyone's so friendly, and being back to campus has been, it's pretty much been a breath of fresh air. Getting back to normal was something I was looking forward to ever since the pandemic started. And definitely my favorite memory here when I was actually on campus freshman year and there's no pandemic was my first ever Siena Serves Day. We worked with the faculty and other clubs in order to clean up the campus, and it was a great opportunity for people to come out from their dorms and actually experience the actual Siena community and help out all together. So.
And for you, Kristina, we also have a work-study student in the alumni office who's a sophomore, and last year, she didn't experience that full campus life. And I remember her coming back into the office after a Friday basketball game, and she's with, 10 of her closest friends at the basketball game. She's going to experience Siena Fest for the first time, actually a week from today, and have the concert. What's it been like coming back for your second year at Siena and getting to experience everything that you looked forward to when you were applying for college?
It's definitely been very exciting. I think freshman year, as sad as it was having the pandemic, it kind of was a good transition year for me because I definitely needed that push to do well academically. But then having the chance to come in sophomore year and just experience life a little normally, it was pretty exciting. I think my favorite event that happened was homecoming, just because all my friends and I got to dress up in dresses and suits and just got to experience the oh my god, I'm so sorry.
The Siena experience.
We got to dance the night away. It was awesome.
And I remember talking with student activities, Emily Roca and Maggie Cross, and I think the homecoming dance had more tickets sold than any Siena Fest in the history of Siena Fest. And that is the biggest student event on campus. And I know that the homecoming is going to be a new tradition at Siena, and it's going to be something that it's going to be for alumni, prospective students, and current students. But I want to get into the second segment here in a little bit and talk about the traditions of the Environmental Club and the new traditions that the Astronomy Club is looking to implement here at Siena. But I know we're going to be cut to radio, so I just want one last follow-up before we head on out to break. Andrew and Kristina, I know it's Friday, it's Good Friday. What are you looking forward to about getting home for a little bit for the next few days and then finishing off the last month and a half of college?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing my family. I live 20 minutes away, but I still miss them every day I'm at Siena. But Easter is one of my favorite holidays, and the nice weather's coming out. And I'm ready to get back after the break and finish semester hard. It's definitely the hardest time of the year when you get all the exams and products and whatnot thrown at you. But we're gonna finish strong like we do every year, and I only got a year left after this, so.
Crazy to think about. And for you, Kristina, quickly before we cut to commercial break, Easter break, and the last month and a half, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm super excited to go home, see my family, my brother, my cats, and just honestly sleep in, and then finish the semester out strong.
It was always tough for me as a student. The clocks jump ahead. We lose that hour of sleep, and it's light out until 9 o'clock. And I would always tell myself, you know what, we're gonna start to study when it gets dark out. And now, when it's not dark out to 9 o'clock, that really cuts on the time of what I got to get done. But we're tied to radio today, so we do got to cut to a commercial break. But when we do come back, we're going to dive into the Environmental Club, talk about Earth Week, talk about what the Environmental Club does here for the Siena community. And Kristina has started a brand new club here at Siena, the Astronomy Club. It's maybe 2 days old as this podcast is right now. So please stay with us here on 88.3 The Saint. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Saints and Alumni Show here on 88.3 The Saint. Happy Good Friday to all of our listeners again. I'm your host, Brandon Murphy, class of 2017, Associate Director of Alumni Relations, and I have special guests and truly Saints that sit on the sidelines, Andrew Brunner, class of 2023, who is the President of the Environmental Club, and a big week ahead of him next week, which we're going to talk about in this segment, and Kristina Gatto, who is the class of 2024 and the President of the newly formed Astronomy Club, who I just found out had their first meeting last night, and I want to touch on that a little bit in this segment. I heard there was maybe a waiting line to get in and a lot of great energy at that club meeting. But as I mentioned, for Andrew and for the Environmental Club, next week is Earth Week, and the college and the student body really has a lot of great events lined up and planned for the Siena community, administration, faculty, and students to help keep the environment clean and to bring out that awareness for the student body and community. But before we dive into the actual events of the week, can you tell our listeners a little bit about, the mission statement of the Environmental Club? How long have you been with the Environmental Club and your role as president within the Environmental Club? Andrew?
Yeah, sure. So I joined the Environmental Club my freshman year here. I joined at the club fair when I saw the table for it. And I always aspired to be on the e-board, as I am now. I'm the president of the club. So our mission statement pretty much essentially states that we want to join as many people as we can together on the Siena community to prevent or spread awareness for the environment. Like you said, Earth Week's coming up this next week, and we're excited. We have a bunch of events planned, and I'm an advocate for the environment, and we try and promote as much environmental friendliness as we can, especially on campus and to our board on the club itself. So.
And for me, I've been at Siena, just under 3 years now, and my first 2 years, probably similar to you, Andrew, everything was done online. We had a lot of Zoom events, we had a lot of emails, we did a lot of social media campaign, but now this year we've really been able to get out in front of people and interact with the Siena community. On the development side of things, we've been able to travel and put on events and see alumni and friends that we haven't seen for the past 2.5 years. And I'm sure everybody on the Environmental Club is itching to get in person, to do events and to do campus cleanups outside with the community. Can you talk a little bit about what events are planned next week? Is it all student-based? Is there anybody outside of the community coming in? Are you guys leaving Sienna's campus at all to do anything? Just to take the listeners a little bit through what that week is going to entail, I think starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, the Earth Week is starting on Tuesday, and on Monday we have break and whatnot. But definitely, I think the Environmental Club benefits the most from being back in person because a lot of our events are hands-on and outdoors and stuff. So just a few events, not to give too much away, but we have a chalk drawing event outside the SSU. You can enter into a raffle to win some pretty cool environmental apparel and gifts that we have. We have a trivia night. We have the Braille Observatory night that we're going to talk a little bit more about later in the podcast. We have a Siena Community Cleanup Day. So we have just a plethora of events planned for this week, and I'm really looking forward to getting out there this next week. I'm hoping this Easter break kind of flies by because I can't wait to get back on the Siena campus and share the moments with everyone. It's always a great time every Earth Week. Last year was a little difficult with being on Zoom for some of the events and whatnot, but being back in person, super happy to get everyone together and stuff. We usually partner with more clubs and the Franciscan Center and some people from outside of campus, and it's always just a great time. So I'm looking forward to a great week.
That's one of the great things about Siena and the Saints and the current students is they want break to be over, and they want to come back and do community service and to interact with family and friends at the college. And I remember, for spring break, a lot of students, took that spring break and went on community service trips, and they wanted those breaks to last longer. But for you, Andrew, you talked about zipping on by through Easter and coming back here for Earth Week. And that big event that is really kind of centered around that is that Siena Campus Cleanup Day. What is that day? Is it an all-day event? Is it only on campus? Are you going, throughout 9 and doing campus cleanups for, the community? What is that day? What day is it? And how can people join that?
Sure. Yeah. So the Siena Serve Day actually is the 30th this year, April 30th. It got moved because obviously Siena Fest is the Saturday of Earth Week. But every year with the Siena Serves Day, it's a day. It's usually around 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the night. And we just get our tools and stuff, and it's the Environmental Club and usually a few other clubs and the Franciscan Center and Habitat for Humanity. We all join together and we separate. Usually I'll take the Environmental Club under my wing, and we'll do a campus cleanup. We'll clean up the wetlands, clean up trash. While some clubs like Habitat go to other places and they do their thing somewhere else. But it's a great time for a few clubs and people to come together and just spread awareness for not only the environment but for sharing and caring about the community and others, which I think is one of the most important statements being a part of the Siena community.
And for people that are listening today and specifically students that might be seeing this across social media platforms, when they're sitting on their phones at Easter break and, they're sick of their family and they want to come back and hang out with their friends, where can students sign up to attend one of the events? Can they sign up to be on the Environmental Club if they've loved this week and they want to join the club? What is some of that information that our listeners should know to join the club and to join the events next week?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of the events all the events are posted on Saints Connect. So you can just go right into the Environmental Club and all the events will be posted right there. We worked really hard on planning all the events, the Environmental e-board itself. We also have an Environmental Club Instagram where we're going to post the events every single day to remind our students here about the events that are taking place. And obviously, by any means, you feel free to contact me or anyone on the Environmental e-board. We're always open to suggestions and adding people to the club because we love promoting awareness for the environment.
Well, thanks, Andrew. And I know a lot of people at Siena look forward to this every year. We had a little bit of that hiatus, but it's a tradition that the Siena community loves to have every year. And I know in the alumni office, we're looking to do similar events like that across all the regions where our alumni are. And hopefully we can continue to partner with you guys like we're going to be partnering with the Astronomy Club for the Brunner event in less than a week now, and all the great work that you guys are doing in the Environmental Club. For you, Kristina, we talk about traditions and new things, and you just started a brand new club, which is going to become this great tradition at Siena with the hope of doing public observings of the telescope that we have here at Siena that we're going to dive into in a little bit. But can you tell the audience a little bit why you wanted to create the Astronomy Club and what that process was like to get it approved at Siena and those steps?
Yeah, so astronomy has been my major since fall, and I've taken a couple astronomy classes, and through doing that, I realized that the observatory seemed to only be open to students doing that major, and I don't know, I felt like it was a little unfair and I wanted to share like my love of astronomy with everyone else. So I discussed with a couple professors the potential for an astronomy club because the physics club had a section within it. Like it was originally the physics and astronomy club, but the astronomy aspect wasn't highlighted as much just because physics was doing so much. So I had the idea to maybe split the two clubs and see like we can highlight both of them at the same time. So after a couple months of just going through paperwork and process and working with the student council, we were able to get it approved. And now I'm able to share my love of astronomy with a greater Siena community. That's like my whole goal for it, is to be able to have more non-STEM majors immersed in the whole astronomy and STEM field within Siena.
And Andrew and Kristina, you both seem like the competitive type. And I was hearing, in the commercial break that Kristina had great attendance at the first ever astronomy club meeting last night at Siena in person, which was great. There was a line to get in, but once you got into the meeting, what was the presentation? What did you tell all of these students that were interested in astronomy club, what they could look forward to, for the next, forever at Siena?
Definitely the star parties or observing nights, that's what we want to call them, are a highlight I want to continue doing, I hope, maybe monthly at Siena. We had our first one this past week, and I wasn't expecting to do another one, but my e-board and I, since it went so well, we were discussing having another one right before finals. So we'll see how we can plan that. But yeah.
Any trivia nights? Is there going to be any swag that people can get? Is there going to be anything that's just going to be popped up and, hey, come to this observing event tonight, or come hang out with us at this club meeting tonight and just learn about space? Anything outside of the viewings?
Yeah, definitely. So we were discussing, obviously, trivia nights, maybe movie nights we were talking about, and even potentially having guest speakers come talk about just astronomy topics, or even people who have worked in the astronomy field, just to immerse the general community more in astronomy.
Apollo 13 is hands down one of my all-time favorite movies. I also love the movie Armageddon, one of my all-time favorite movies with Bruce Willis. And I think back about that movie in Armageddon, where they're looking through the telescope and they see the meteor coming to Earth, and they're freaking out. And it's just a great scene. And I always think back about people looking at space, and you talked a lot about their public observings that you guys want to do as the astronomy club. And that was one of the big questions I think that helped you guys push this club to get approved, was there is this demand now at Siena where people want to publicly view the stars and space at Siena, because we have this great Breuer Observatory that was graciously gifted to us by John Breuer, class of 1968, and with an honorary degree in '02, and his wife Marilyn. And it was fully completed just a couple of years ago, and we now have this great event that we try to do with the Environmental Club and now the Astronomy Club every Earth Week, where we open it up to alumni to come and get a presentation of how the Breuer Observatory came about, and then they get to take a chance and socialize with friends and kind of look at the stars and just kind of stargaze, for an hour or two, which is amazing. And before we wrap up today, Kristina, I know you're going to be at the event, and same with you, Andrew, but Kristina, for you as well with the Astronomy Club, what are you looking forward to interact with alumni and to share your passion at Siena?
Honestly, just seeing people's faces, because this is something I do frequently, and I like to just see how people get to experience it as well, and just having that ability to share it, I think is really cool.
And then Andrew, for you quickly, what are you looking forward to about interacting with alumni next week at the event?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to promoting more awareness for only the Astronomy Club, but also for the Breuer Observatory. We're the part of the Environmental Club, but space is pretty cool too. So definitely excited to go see some stargazing and whatnot. So.
Well, I want to thank Kristina. I want to thank Andrew for taking some time out of their Easter break to hang out with me here in the studio at WVCR and just kind of sharing with the Siena community your passions for Siena and what you guys look forward to for you, Andrew, in the next year and a half, and for you, Kristina, in the next 2.5 years. It flies by. I can say that I'm 5 years out, but I want to thank both of you. And I want to thank all of the listeners today for joining us here on 88.3 The Saints and Alumni Show. For you listening and you want to come and attend the Breuer Observatory viewing next week, visit siena.edu/alumni/events and come hang out with us. Come hang out with the student body, and happy Easter to all. And we'll see you next time here on 88.3 The Saint.